Right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Four Quick Cues Book Talk with Enfys. Oh, I'm off to a great start today. I'm Enfys Book from MajorArqueerna.com. This is the live interview chat show where I ask pagan authors four quick questions determined by a roll of the dice. If you've got questions for our guest today, please pop them into the comments. We'll circle to those at the end. Joining me today is Courtney Weber, who is a Wiccan priestess, writer, tarot advisor, and activist. She is the author of, I'm going to do these in the order I have them in the stack here, Hekate, Goddess of Witches, the Morrigan, Celtic Goddess of Magic and Might, Breed, History, Mystery, and Magic of the Celtic Goddess, and Tarot for One, The Art of Reading for Yourself, which is my favorite tarot book.
Thank you.
So yay, they're all my favorites. I can't pick a favorite. They're all amazing. So thank you for being here, Courtney. It's a pleasure to see you again.
I know I miss you. I wish you would come out. Thank you for seeing us. We were just talking about how much Ichabod, my dog, missed you. So I swear when he heard your voice, he's like, I know them. I want to see them.
I want to see them too. I want to pet everybody's dogs. That's one of the things I've missed the most in this pandemic. I've missed the people, but also their pets. I haven't seen their pets and given them all the pets they need. So, but on a brighter note, we have some random cues for you to A. Are you prepared for the gauntlet of four questions?
No, and I know you sent them to me, and so I have no idea what I'm going to say. Go ahead.
It's all about being off the cuff. It's all good. All right, let's roll, and no whammies, no whammies. Ooh, lucky number 13, an auspicious number to start with. How has the pandemic influenced your writing?
It's actually been great for my writing. I finished my novel. It's taken me a few years, and I finally got that done. I also finished Hekate, and then I've started something new, which is currently sitting on the Wiser review desk. I'm not giving anything away. That one's going to be a surprise, but it's been a really good time for me with writing, and I've I I found myself sometimes, like when we have our really serious lockdowns, not quite wanting them to end because I was having such a good time just with me and my books. And so it's been a good time for me to, because sometimes when I was writing before the pandemic, I felt like I might need to be doing something else. By the way, my cat's sitting down here, so that's where I'm keeping her happy. But once there's nowhere else to go, I don't have that pull to turn away from my writing. And it's remarkable how much you can get done in small increments, right? And still no longer thinking, I just need, a week off to write. Well, it turns out you don't need a full week off, but maybe if you had 20 minutes a day, you can actually get a lot done. So the pandemic was great for my writing. I went into some kind of dark and scary places a few times in it, because I think I gave myself permission to. Didn't have to be on for workshops or public things. So that was also very healing. So that was a long answer to your short question. How has it affected my writing? Great. It's been great.
You're not alone in that.
But great for my writing.
Big mood, absolutely. All right, let's try question 2. What do we get? Ooh, 17. 17 is, how do you move past writer's block?
Well,
have a pandemic, apparently.
Have a pandemic. Well, if I have a block with one piece that I'm writing, I'll work on something else. I find I break through blocks if I can have free write by hand. I get the most blocks if I'm typing. So if I'm typing and I get a block, I will sometimes turn to writing by hand. And if I still am finding that I'm struggling with it, then I will come at it a different way. So sometimes with my pagan work, there's always a combination of personal experience with research, with rituals, with those things. And I also try as often as I can to get other people's perspectives. So I would, if I'm struggling with how to put the research piece together, I'm going to stop and I'm going to write a ritual. If I'm struggling with the ritual, I'm going to stop and maybe work on developing information from an interview. that I had. And also reading is really, really helpful. I always keep what I call a companion book by my computer. So a writer who's different from me, maybe they come from a different tradition, or they're a different race than I am, different religion, and that they're going to come at it from a different perspective than I am, but they're writing about similar stuff. And so with that, if I'm sitting, then that helps me start to loosen up. So I usually will read a chapter of a companion book or a section of a companion book before I start doing my own writing. And also taking walks and showers. For some reason, once I'm away from the house, then it flows. Then in the shower, it all comes together. And so then I got to jump out, and I got my hair all wet, and I'm just like scratching something down in a notebook so I don't forget it.
So clearly I need to get you one of those whiteboards that go in the shower that you can
My
like
God,
write
yes.
things.
Oh,
They
my
make
husband would
those.
be so pleased, wouldn't he?
They make such wonderful things. But yeah, that's awesome. I love the idea of like shifting gears in what you're writing to break out of the block, or, reading something by someone else about kind of a similar thing. I tend to do something very similar to that, yeah.
Yeah.
Except I've got a pile of them all over my lap. It gets
Don't
really
we all? Look
comical.
behind me.
Yes.
Gaze upon it.
Oh man, awesome. All right, 2 down, 2 to go. I believe in us. Let's see what we got. Ooh, we're staying in the teens. It's a 14 now. Oh, this one's real brief. What inspires you?
So, since we're having author talk, I'll start with that because I can be inspired by a lot of different things. I am very inspired by individuals. So, when I write a book, I sit with that book I imagine that there is one person sitting in the room with me. And sometimes, I've talked about that. That person has been you many times when you. And I was just like, what would Enfys want to hear right now? What would be helpful for them? So, because I think you in spirit sat with me a lot during my Morgan book writing
Aw.
days. So you're absolutely there for that. And I think about, because you can't write for everyone. But you can write, if you write for one person, there's going to be 200 million people out there who are enough like that person where they're going to feel like you're talking directly to them. And I feel like that's where, if I've had success in my writing, is people feel that I'm writing to them and that it's very personal, because they sense that connection I'm making with the figurative person who's in the room. And so right now I've been writing for a woman I know out here in Oregon, and I think about what questions she might have and what in the book the piece that I'm writing might be helpful to her. And because what she would need is very different than what, a middle-aged Christian guy in, Argentina would need. But I can't necessarily write for that person this time. Maybe they will find something in there that's them. But what I am doing is writing for her. So it helps me as an author try to figure out, like, well, I'm going to include this, but what about this person over here? What are they going to want? I can't do it for everybody. And I would still hope the middle-aged guy Christian guy in Argentina is still going to find something that'll be helpful for him. But it helps me focus when I think, you know what, he is welcome, but I'm going to write for this person over here because I just feel that I have what she's looking for at this time. So that makes sense.
Is that something you've always done, or did you happen across that technique sort of as you were working on a book in the middle of it, kind of thing?
I really want to credit Teresa Reed for this, because I attended one of her classes. She's the tarot lady, and she's written a number of books on tarot. And I attended one of her classes on building a tarot business. And she said, write your ideal client down to what television do they watch? Where do they live? Where do they grocery shop? And that I built on that a lot when I was starting to blog. And then as I started working at my current company in Auburn Seminary, and I was working with their media trainers, there was a lot about when you're trying to get your message out, who is the person you're trying to reach? And, is it your grandmother who's sitting at home and she turns on MSNBC and she sees you? What do you want her to hear? And that would often help me as somebody who I don't think I have ADD, but I'm a people pleaser. And so I would sit there and be thinking, I've got all these people I'm trying to please. Maybe I just need to pick one person that I'm working with right now. And I know that a lot of other people out there are going to find themselves through my conversation with this person in my mind. And that also just helps me a lot to focus as much as anything else. It's not about exclusion, it's about focus.
And I think what it does, based on my reading of your books, is it gives you a very consistent tone through the whole thing. And that's one of those things I'm always really impressed by, is it always sounds like you are in the room explaining it to me, as opposed to something academic, like, from the high hills of wherever. It feels very personal, it feels very intimate, and it feels like a conversation, which I always really like. So that's a very good technique from what I've seen. That
Yay.
seems to
And
work
it
really
literally
super
worked because
well.
you literally were that person when I was writing the Morgan book. So yes.
And I love the Morrigan book, so you did it well.
Thanks.
All right, one more question from the dice, and then we'll see if you have any questions in the chat. Feel free to drop them in the comments. We'll take a look at those in just a minute. Still in the teens. It's all the teens with this dice. Question 18. Oh, I love this one. What do you like to listen to while you write, and why?
Oh, that's a good one. So um, I used to have specific Tori Amos albums that would accompany my different books. So with Bridget, it was definitely the Night of the Hunters. Because she was inspired by the Irish epic mythology and poems, and so that helped a lot to be there in that with her. I don't remember what I was listening to when I did Tarot for One. With the Morgan and Hekate, I'd gotten really into Spotify at that point, so I would start to put on their weekly selections for me, which strangely was all these angry women from the 90s. What? And a lot of new wave covers. And if I found, as I was writing and listening, if I found one that I felt really spoke to the book that I was writing on, I would add it to the playlist. So I really should send you people the links to my different playlists for those books, because I have a Morgan writing playlist. I have a Hekate writing playlist. I have one for my novel, and then I have one for the secret project I'm working on now.
Ooh. Yeah, definitely share those. It's actually a little teaser. I wrote 11, well, yeah, a total of 11 playlists for the book that I have coming out, and I'm going to be releasing one a week from like this week until the book is released.
You
Because I'm like,
put together great playlists. Your
oh,
Sad About Elizabeth Warren playlist literally got me through. I was playing it while I was ripping invasive weeds out of the yard in fury, and I was like, Enfys's playlist is saving my life right now.
oh. I love making playlists. It's a weird hobby. But
Oh,
yeah, that's
I'm completely in. I'm completely
yeah.
in. Yes. No, I love it.
I'll have to tell you about Music League later. That's one of my other favorite things. It's basically
Yeah.
cooperative, competitive playlist building. It's a thing I've gotten into lately. I had another thought on the playlist, and now I'm blanking on what it was. Oh, yeah. So I get to see what playlists my band's music appear on with the Spotify Artists app.
Oh my
So the
God.
playlist names are phenomenal. And there was one that was called The Morrigan Vibes to These Songs. And I'm like, I feel like my work is done. If my music is good enough to be on a playlist for the Morrigan, yes, that is absolutely fantastic. Some of them are really funny. I post a lot of screenshots of them on our Twitter in like long stream posts and rank them out of 10, and they're always like 15 out of 10 or 12 out of 10 because they're all perfect and wonderful, and I love them all. So yes. All right. Well, that's the 4 questions. I need to get the laptop that will show me the chat, unlike the one that I am on. So while I do that, if you could talk about your latest projects and things that you would like people to buy, please do so. I'm also going to paste into the chat links to where people can find you online and where they can get your latest release, Hekate. So go
Yes.
for it.
So Hecate is the book that just came out this past August, and it is a look at Hecate's history, ways that she was worshipped over the centuries, and also how people can connect with her today. So it has like with all of my books, there's a very strong emphasis on history, but an equal emphasis on modern applications. So it's a lot of people are finding their way into working with Hekate. So it's a really great primer if you're just getting into Hekate work, or you want to get in deeper and try to put your spiritual practice with Hekate in a little more grounded context. Hope that's helpful. And I do have a podcast. It's called That Witch Life, and I run it with my two best friends. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. So it's half of it is talks with witchcraft experts, and the other half is ridiculous shenanigans with three very ancient friends. So that is where you can find us, and we have a very active Patreon community if you're looking to connect with the nicest group of weirdos you're ever going to meet. That's where you can find us.
Oh, and that's one of the links I forgot to include is thatwitchlife.com.
Yeah, thatwitchlife.com, or you can just find us on any of the podcast apps, or on all of them.
Cool. I've added that to the chat as well, and we'll put it in the show notes for the YouTube version of this. So awesome. All right. Well, it looks like we don't have any questions from the chat at this time, but Courtney, it has been such a pleasure having you. It's always a great time when we get to chat, and it's been way too long since we've gotten to hang out. So this was really fun for me.
I know you and Neil have to come out. We can go hiking.
Yes. Oh, that'd be amazing.
Yeah.
So a couple of upcoming things I want folks to know about. Tomorrow night, I'm doing a special bonus stream with Jack Chanik, author of Kabbalah for Wiccans, and we're just going to ramble about Kabbalah. I love Jack too. We're going to ramble about Kabbalah for like, I don't know, an hour, however long we can keep it going. It may be 3, who knows? But that's at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific time tomorrow, Tuesday, March 29th. And then on April 11th, I'm also super jazzed to finally get to talk to Cassandra Snow, who is the author of Queering Your Magical Practice, or wait, Queering Your Craft. Oh no, this is terrible. I should have looked that up ahead of time because I have it, and now of course it's way over there and I can't find it. Anyway, has a fantastic book on queering your magical practice and also queering the tarot, and I'm super stoked to talk to Cassandra. And then May 4th, I've got Irene Glass and Kane Dreamwalker, authors of a brand new book coming out that day, which is super great. And June 29th, I will be talking to Jane Meredith, who also wrote a Kabbalah book coming out in July. So super stoked about all that. And I hope you all will join me. And I hope you'll join me sometime again in the future. Courtney, can't wait to hear more about the novel and the super secret project when that's available to talk to folks about.
Yes, and I forgot, there's one other thing I have coming up. I have a 4-part class coming up on working with deities in magic. It's virtual. It's on through Catland Books on Tuesday nights in April. So one class will be on Bridget, one on the Morgan, one on Hekate, and then one that's specifically focused on building your practice with pagan deities. So you can find out information about that on catlandbooks.com.
Ooh, let me add that to the chat as well. Spell that for me if you would.
CATLANDBOOKS.
Okay, catlandbooks.com. 4-part course. There we go. Awesome. Thank you so much for your time. Everyone who's watching, I hope you have a great rest of the day. Thank you so much.